Thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I did a video on this yesterday, and I wanted to just double tap on it and share the information, kind of front load it a little bit with the meat and potatoes, so to speak. So the headline was, a new rule allows the VA to adjust disability compensation to prevent overpayments. Now, what are they talking about? Now, that's what I wanted to dive into here. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. The two asks, as always, look, let the video run for a little while. That helps to put this in the hands of those that need it, and hit the thumbs up. All right, so jumping into it, there's a couple different nuggets that we can pull from this article. Now, one of these nuggets I'm going to throw out there now, and it is actually in relation to the other proposed rule that we've been hearing about with regard to the VA eliminating tinnitus and the VA reducing sleep apnea if you have a treatable condition and it's receptive to treatment with a CPAP, you would get a 0%. Horrible, horrible changes. So those are proposed rules as well. Now, the nugget in this one regarding that one is this proposed rule that I'm talking about today was introduced 5 years ago and just got implemented today. What does that mean? That means that this proposed rule for the tinnitus and the sleep apnea and mental health changes, all of that stuff, look, it was introduced in, what was it, February of 2022, so we're still in the baby phase, 2 years, compared to this rule that took 5 years to implement. So I just want to throw that out there to everyone, because as we read through different things regarding VA and what the VA is doing and what sort of rules are being implemented, we can pick and pull pieces out and look to see how things are going to shape up for the future of other things, right? So it's kind of like looking in the past to figure out the future. So that's that one kind of extra special nugget that we can pull out. The other thing is with regard to this thing specifically, again, this rule is essentially targeting, let's see, what's the best way to put it? Okay, so this rule targets individuals who have service connection for conditions and are still serving either as a reservist or a National Guard member, okay? So you can, for those that don't know, you can file a claim anytime during your reserve time. If you're reserve or guard and you're just your traditional guard member or reservist, you do your 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, and you hurt your this or that, you can file a claim and you can get your VA disability. Now, the problem comes when you have active duty time within the Guard or the reserves. You can't collect VA disability and active duty pay at the same time. However, we already know how good all these different departments talk to each other. So guess what? They rely on you, the veteran reservist National Guard member, to let them know your status. Hey, look, I'm going on active duty orders, you know, I need to not get paid. So what happens is people don't say anything. And guess what? I'm one of those people. After my time in the Marine Corps, was out for a little bit, then I joined back into the Army National Guard, and guess what? I was service connected, and I was receiving my VA compensation, and I was receiving active duty time pay from the Guard on different little active duty stints. Well, eventually the VA figures it out. Then they realize that they overpaid you. Then what happens is they take that money back. And what they did for me was they just took it all back. Did not pay me any compensation until I had paid back my debt to them. So what this rule is essentially trying to do is negate that, to stop that from happening before it can happen. So what the rule does is it allows for some crosstalk between the Defense Department and the VA on people who would potentially be going to active duty orders. So reading out of this, let's see. So under previous rules, Okay, we'll start there. Under previous rules with the VA must provide the veteran with a notification, and then that takes 60 days because there's responses and back and forths and all that stuff. So there's a quotation here, and it states that this becomes problematic for some veterans on active duty serving in remote locations, such as a combat zone, right, with infrequent mail service or no reasonable method for dealing with any type of financial matters. So that was a concern, right? So you disappear, you come back, and you weren't able to know what was going on, and you missed all the deadlines and all that stuff. So it says here, the only way for the VA to currently prevent instances of overpayment is if a veteran provides a statement confirming a return to active or training service prior to receiving pay for it, allowing the department to suspend disability benefits. But under this new rule, again, that just went effective now. It went effective, I think, on the 10th, January 10th. It says the department can immediately suspend payment of benefits regardless of the 60-day adjudication window. So they don't need to have that 60-day time frame based on a notice from the Defense Department that the veteran is receiving active duty service pay. So the Defense Department and VA will have some crosstalk. Defense Department tells the VA, Joe Snuffy is going to active duty, and then the VA says, great. And then they pull VA compensation from Joe Snuffy until otherwise. Now, let's move on here. It says the rule is designed to help prevent potential overpayments to ineligible beneficiaries. Ineligible because you're receiving active duty pay. The VA then has to try to recover, right, because you got overpaid. That overpayment recovery may ultimately include aggressive collection action that could ultimately impact the veteran's credit history, eligibility for security clearance, or even employment. The 2019 proposed rule said. Again, that nugget here, additional nugget, is this rule was proposed in 2019 and went effect in 2024. 5-year time span. So don't think that just because we're not hearing anything on proposed rules means that they're dead. All right, moving on. Based on the public comment to the rule, the VA has also made adjustments to ensure benefits were suspended upon the veteran receiving active service pay and not DOD notice of prospective active service pay, which may be subject to change. So here's another important nugget that we can pull out regarding other proposed rules from the VA, and that is during the comment period, which on the proposed rule to reduce tinnitus and or eliminate tinnitus and reduce sleep apnea, on that proposed rules, the comment period has been closed for a long time. But the VA does look at the comments. Who knows what's going to happen? Do we know what's going to happen on this new rule for the tinnitus and sleep apnea mental health? No. We could probably be sure changes will happen, but they might take into consideration certain things on the comment side. Maybe instead of a total elimination of tinnitus, maybe it's a reduction to a 0% rating. Who knows? So, but it's important to understand that, look, the VA does, or did in this case, on this specific rule, implement new changes to their rule based on the feedback from the comments. Moving on here, says VA has also added language to the rule that would allow the resumption of benefits based on a DOD notice that the veteran has been released from active duty or active duty for training. And remember that this notification is important because sometimes you may get active duty orders for training or otherwise, and they might be for a specific block of time. During that time period, it could get shortened and you get out of there earlier, or they could get extended. So that's an important component, I believe, to this as well. Moving on, it states here that if VA receives notice from the DOD or a claim for recommencement of payments within 1 year of the date of release from active duty or active duty for training, payments, if otherwise in order, will be resumed effective the day following release. So even if it gets jacked up, as long as they get notified within a year, they'll back pay you to the day following your release. Otherwise, payments will be resumed effective 1 year prior to the date of receipt of the new claim, December 12th notice said. So, immediate benefit suspension without advance notice to the veteran will only occur if they receive concurrent receipt of compensation and payment. Advanced notice of the suspension and notice that suspension of compensation payments based on subsequent payments for the same type of service would be made without additional advance notice. And then it finishes off here with a little 3-sentence or 3-line paragraph. The rule is meant to reduce the burden on veterans to notify the VA of their active service payments and the status of their disability benefits, and to streamline communication with the Defense Department to help verify the status. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.